watching this video, then you know you're far enough into the year to know that I only fear God. I am built different.
Guys, I'm scared. If you do not see me, I am sorry. It was not worth it. I have been prepping a little bit. I ate some honey barbecue sauce on Saturday. I had it down about a quart of milk afterwards, though.
So I am not even remotely afraid of eating hot wings. All I know is that today we're going to learn about the French and Indian War. No matter who gets hurt and who dies on the way, it's not going to be me.
If I cannot teach, though, we have Mr. Johnson, and I guess he's adequate. He's good enough. So let's get started with the French and Indian War. Also, please don't sue us hot ones. This is purely for educational purposes. All right, good morning, kiddos. It's gonna be morning for you guys as we're doing this. I am talking really loud like right now because I am super pumped, and by pumped I mean scared, very, very scared. So we're gonna go through our notes. You guys have access to this PowerPoint that we have. I'll kind of tell you, or Mr. Johnson will kind of tell you when we're changing slides. So if you want to have the video up in one and then the slides up on the other half of your computer, that is fine. Alright, so let's go ahead and start out. So intro slide, we're going to be doing Unit 3, Lesson 1, French and Indian War.
Let's be clear, we have not eaten a wing yet, so if you can see how sweaty he is right now, that's just pure nerves at this point. Nothing has been eaten yet.
We'll eat after this first slide.
Go ahead.
So you guys have your guided notes, so follow along as we go through. So that very next slide is titled Salutary Neglect. Salutary neglect is the term that is given during this whole time that we've been talking about so far in American history. So neglect means you are not paying attention to them whatsoever. Remember we talked about how the British wanted to come over here purely for money. Colonies are purely for money. They do not really care what we do as long as they get money. So the British, the Parliament, the King, they're kind of let us do our own thing, run ourselves, rule ourselves, make our own laws. For the most part, most of the colonies are kind of self-governing. They elect their own officials to kind of handle their local issues.
Guys, at this point, you would have already looked at some documents either through Mr. Coleman's class or through my class where you can probably start to see some of the seeds of things starting that are going to push us toward the American Revolution. This is going to be one of the major events that is going to be that final push towards the final steps for the American Revolution.
Are you ready to chow down, Mr. Johnson?
I've been ready for days, so let's do it.
That backside looks good.
The side with no sauce? Yeah.
That is hot. Oh!
Hey, watch this, everybody. Second bite. That's not bad at all. I don't know what he's doing, but that's good stuff.
You gotta clean the bone.
Hey, don't let me forget that I have this on my hand, because if I touch my eyes, I'm gonna go blind. Just to be clear for everybody watching at home.
Oh, it's so hot on the lips. I think I'm swallowing most of it without getting on my tongue.
I could eat these first ones for fun. I'm gonna say that. That's not a brag. I'm just being totally honest.
Alright, I'm good. So, going on to that next slide.
Do you need me to take the next slide? Because I'm totally good, just for those watching at home. So, this is going to be taking place in the Ohio Valley, which, if you are not familiar with that term, that is literally where we are right now. The colonies over on the East Coast are going to be getting bigger, more urban. A lot of people packed tightly together. So for the colonists, they're going to be looking. They're going to be looking to the Ohio Valley as a place where there's a lot of good fertile soil. There's a lot of room just to go and spread out.
So if you've been driving through like Ohio or Indiana, just think of all the soybean, all the corn. That place is fantastic soil. You can grow anything. When I used to live in Ohio, I just dug up a spot, threw in seeds, covered it, and it would grow no problem. So super great soil. Going on.
Good freshwater sources too, the Ohio River, the Great Lakes. It's going to be a very attractive place.
So going to the next slide, the claims.
Thank you.
France actually has the rights to this area. Anything west of the Appalachian Mountains, France has rights to that. Remember, they also have claims to Canada. Now, here's the big thing. Remember that France is purely getting money off the fur trade. They're not using the land, they're just utilizing the area for a little bit, and then they go off. So France has built a few forts, just in case they have any problems in this area. But here's where the kicker is. Britain, those colonists, a little bit egotistical, they think that they have the same rights to that same area. They think they can move in also. So they will start moving in and building some forts also. All right, we're good. So going to the next slide. So French settlement and the British settlement, the big thing is, like I said, the French are fur traders. They don't need to do anything with the land themselves. The British, on the other hand, are farming. They want that land for only themselves. The French have no problem sharing with the Native Americans. The British do not want to share because that cuts into their cash crops, that cuts into their profit. All right. The other big thing is the French work with the Native Americans. They have a really good relationship ever since a man named Chamberlain went on and kind of became friends with the Native Americans. The other really cool thing is just Jesuit priests, just because Jesuit priests are so interesting.
There's a very long history of Catholic missionaries coming into the New World at the same time. Some of the British were coming over, and they have, I don't know that it's a good relationship, we can say, but a much more positive relationship than some of the British have. The Jesuit priests from France and Spain would be examples of that. Mr. Coleman, is it time? I'm hungry. Is it time for the next wing?
Yes, so we'll go to the next slide and we will chow down.
This is the one that was like kind of coagulated at the top, so we had to like stab the bottle to get the sauce out. I don't know what that means. The only other thing I know that coagulates is human blood. So maybe a little preview of what's to come.
I'm going to try to go no face.
No reaction?
No
Yeah, that's easy. Oh, God. That's not that bad. That's some good stuff. Oh! Oh, that's some good stuff. I can't talk.
So that's when there becomes a conflict with all this stuff going on.
Conflict is first going to start to erupt when a young, he's not a general at this point, I don't think. I don't know that I can think anymore. Gentleman named George Washington leads an expedition into the Ohio Valley. Into the Ohio Valley. He's going to be the one to tell the French that the English are claiming all of Ohio. The French are not going to be happy about this. So they are not. They're kind of setting him up in a way to fail. That wasn't that bad.
Have to move the garbage can.
I'm gonna crack open my water for a second. That was the second or the second lowest level that we got. I'm gonna go and throw these two away. I think I'm ready though. Ready to move on. Do you have anything else on that slide, Mr. Coleman?
So George Washington, is kind of raising up in the. Oh yeah, next slide. Next slide.
Next slide's next week.
Not yet.
All right. So next slide, we're talking about the fight that takes place. So Washington needs to go tell the French that, hey, this is my land, get off of it. You have to edit a lot of this, Mr. Johnson.
I'm not editing a thing, actually. We're going to keep it all in. So Washington's men go and they open fire on the French ambassadors who were coming to deliver actually the same message they were going to tell the British that they claimed all of the Ohio Valley. Native Americans that are fighting under Washington are going to kind of make the first blow of the French and Indian War. They're going to kill these guys, scalp them. This is against their orders, right? So they were not supposed to do this. Everybody involved going to be very upset by this.
Obviously, can the French just let this happen? No. The French have got to kind of take over and fight back against this.
I feel good.
Next slide.
This is actually part of a conflict, a bigger conflict that most of the world refers to as the 7 Years' War. Here in America, we refer to it as the French and Indian War.
This is a world war.
Yes,
It is fought on every continent, except Antarctica.
that we know of.
The British are going to lose a lot of these fights early on, just because they've got to focus in America and everywhere else. The French have a lot of allies, and a lot of people are willing to help them out.
So very important. The
The donuts
British.
actually help.
You're literally wiping your face with the donuts.
The slips.
Very important thing. The British are promising the colonists that. Oh, got a little sauce just went down my throat. The British are promising the colonists that if they win, they don't have to pay taxes. If you know anything about the Revolutionary War, you know that contention over taxes is going to be a major factor that's going to start the whole American Revolution not too far from this point. So you can already imagine this is a promise that the British are not going to keep. We'll get back on that
But
though.
the thing is, once the colonists hear this, they're like, "Hey, you mean we can help fight? We'll get paid for it, everything taken care of, and then we'll just go back to our regular life." So colonists kind of take over with this. Go down to the next slide. This is a graphic drawn by Benjamin Franklin during this time.
You don't need those.
Can you go over the slide?
Yeah, so Benjamin Franklin at this point is going to be very active in American politics. This is a political cartoon that he drew. Guys, we're going to go ahead and eat the next wing. And while we're eating it, I want you to just maybe watch the video. Don't pay attention to us. It's probably not going to be that funny. And see literally what is this a drawing of? Kind of like we do in my class. Literally, what is this? And what do we think some meaning behind this would be? So we're going to go ahead and hit the middle wing.
I'm taking a bite, and that's it. Like, I'm not.
I feel good. You ready?
Excuse me.
I'm going in.
Went right up on the road.
Oh, Jesus.
That was bad. Oh no. Oh, the throat! Guys, I was able to chew it without touching my tongue. I'm having problems breathing. My pre-existing conditions, Mr. Johnson.
That hurts my lips. Oh, God.
I ate it with just my. Oh no, I didn't get out my lips after all. Alright, so next slide.
Oh, we gotta talk about Benjamin Franklin.
So that goes along with that next slide. So this. Mom, Dad, I love you.
Oh, Jesus.
Your wife and child?
So Benjamin Franklin draws this. If you notice, all of those parts of that snake have letters next to them. So New England, New York, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Massachusetts, Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Get the donuts. There we go. I'm just kidding. You want So those are obviously the first letters of the names of the colonies. This is Benjamin Franklin's way of saying, if we do not join together and fight against the French, we will not survive as colonies. The French will take over the colonies, and we will not have life the way we do right now.
This is not real. This is not real.
So I think we're good on that one. Next one.
What's the next one about?
Choosing sides.
The colonies are going to come together to fight against the French. Benjamin Franklin, at this point, is a delegate from Pennsylvania. Hold on a second. I feel great.
The Native Americans are going to be every time I think it's gone, just creeps back up.
Please don't drink from this water when you're in Mr. Bender's class.
Lab safety rules.
The Indians split between the French and the English based on what they're promised. Both sides are going to promise that they're going to let the Native Americans do what they want.
This is going to be the final war, at least until the War of 1812, that's going to determine who controls North America once and for all. Either the French or the British.
Most of the natives are going to side with the French just because they know that the French aren't going to use the land and they're not going to kick them off. So that kind of sets the tone for that. Next slide.
There's going to be a comparison how the colonists fight compared to how the British fight. The colonists are not super well trained. They're going to have what's called guerrilla warfare, not like the guerrilla like Harambe, like the guerrillas that fight out in the wilderness, sneak around. Not very organized warfare, but it's very effective. Because you have to consider the colonists that are fighting, I can't feel my tongue anymore, the colonists that are fighting are super familiar with the land. They are not well trained, but they are going to have a little bit of an edge just because the British are coming over from thousands of miles away across the ocean.
They don't know the area.
Yeah, these guys are fighting on their home turf.
The big thing is the British fight with honor, and that's what they say. They get in a straight line and they just march. There's no ducking, there's no dodging. They stand about 50 yards away from their enemies, look straight at them, shoot, and reload, and the French do the same thing. This is the honorable fighting. The colonists are like, no.
I almost touched that wing with my bare hand. That would have been a mistake.
The colonists say, no, let's just fight and let's kill people and win. The YouTube video right there at the bottom is a song that comes from this time period. Go ahead and click on that and enjoy that song. And I just got over this one. I might just lick it.
No, you gotta take a bite. This one's kind of
I
runny,
might-
so make sure you scoop it up on it.
I might throw up.
Make sure you
Like,
scoop
it's
that
getting
sauce
close.
on that wing. You're good.
Come on, Coleman.
You can do it.
So click that YouTube video and enjoy some Yankee Doodle.
You gotta do it.
Come on.
You want me to do it first, or is that gonna make you feel
Yeah,
bad?
go for it. That way you can start dying down whenever I am picking up.
Coleman, do you need a substitution of the bedroom?
Benno, you want to tag in?
Tag in.
Yeah.
I just sit there and just eat it and lick it off there. Right off my fingers.
Okay, so, yeah, Sammy, I'll go in and start this, and whenever you're able to talk again, Mr. Jonathan, take over. So the 7 Years' War, it starts to settle down because the colonists have a lot of motivation. Alright? So they start fighting, and once the colonists start fighting, the British can take over, and the British can fight on their other areas. Alright?
I'm good.
The French cannot compete with the sheer numbers of the American colonists and the British forces. So what ends up happening is the Iroquois Confederation actually switches sides. They see the British are winning, they go and talk to the British like, hey, if we join your side, will you still cut us a really good deal? And the British cut and basically say, hey, if you join our side, we will let you do whatever you want to with that land. We will let you guys take over that land. And so the Iroquois, with that promise, they're going to get the same thing from the French, so they might as well be on the winning side. So the Iroquois switch over to the British.
What
So-
side are we on?
We're going to go to side 13.
Just to be clear, did you tag out or are you going?
I'm going.
Okay.
He's going all the way. We're both are.
You're about to cry, though. If you're about to cry,
I'm not crying. I feel good.
I'm not crying. You're crying. Can you do the end of New France?
I feel good. This is the end of New France.
Go slow.
I'm not starting until you take a bite of that. I think my contact fell out, and I'm okay with that. I'm not gonna try
The
to touch
smell.
eye.
The smell.
Eat it. Eat it.
This is for you guys. It doesn't even taste good. Why do people eat this? That
This-
smell! Ugh. Oh boy! Woo!
I have actual tears. The end of New France. North America is going to be taken over by the British in 1759 when the British captured Quebec, today a city in Canada, originally the French capital in the New World.
I
Britain
didn't chew that when I swallowed it,
did
which
that
was a
help?
great idea. My throat.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm sorry I'm disgusting. I really am. Oh,
Britain. I'm sorry.
it's cleared out my sinuses, and now I'm just like swallowing my own snot.
Britain is going to claim Canada. They're going to claim the Ohio Valley. All the other French claims are given to Spain. The British are going to trade Cuba, which they own, to the Spanish in exchange for Florida. Why do they do this? Nobody knows. Nobody likes Florida.
touch. Yeah.
I think I'm good.
I feel great. Some effects of this on the next slide.
So, the effects are the big ones.
You got it.
British becomes the masters of North America. They push back all the French, which means that they pretty much own all of North America. The Spain don't really do anything, because remember when we talk about Spain, they just came, they steal, they killed, and they took their gold and went back home. They did not set up colonies really. So the British are in control of all of this, which is super awesome for them. The colonists start settling in that Ohio Valley River because they want that really good fertile soil. I hope it's not as spicy whenever I throw up in a little bit. I hope it doesn't get me twice. They settle in that Ohio River Valley, and the British are left with a huge, crushing national debt.
It's bad.
And as you see, yes, the debt is bad.
That is bad.
The debt must be paid. If you're big fans of Game of Thrones, the British always pay their debts also because they have to. Next slide. I'll get in on the next one with you so I feel the same pain because I feel bad that I kind of cheated my last one. I'm not really sorry, but I'll pretend like it.
I feel good. I feel excellent at this point. So you do what you need to do, Mr. Coleman.
So effects continued. The British didn't think the colonies did enough to support the war effort, so they're actually super upset with the colonists. On the other side, the colonists were super proud of themselves. Now you also have this cool dynamic where the British officers are super gentlemen. Like, they actually take time to have tea time during the war. Like, they'll say, oh, we're doing a war, but we need to sit down and take our tea. So they'll sip on their tea. Colonial officers are not like that. They're farmers. They're used to going out and killing a deer and working hard and not really caring about it. Which leads into some really, really hard feelings between the colonists and the British.
Just throw it to you.
Don't knock over the hot sauce, please. So, you have this relationship between the British and the colonists kind of festering. They don't really like each other. They don't respect each other is the big thing. The colonists see the British as kind of girly. Like, they take really good care of their uniforms. They do everything specific ways, and the British see the colonists as barbaric.
Have you coughed and it comes back up in your throat? Because
Yeah.
that's what just happened to me.
Yeah, get to that second time. Which takes us to Pontiac's Rebellion of 1763. So the Native Americans are super upset that all of a sudden the colonists are moving into this area because the British told the Iroquois, hey, that won't happen. So the Iroquois get super upset, and we have this guy named Pontiac, and we'll learn a little bit about Pontiac later on. I think they'll read it in Mr. Johnson's class.
You'll read Pontiac's address in my class, one of his speeches. It'll be Unit 3, so it should be shortly after you watch this video or close. Whoever your new teachers are will show you Pontiac's address.
I hope they're good.
I hope they're better than us, at least.
So the response to... I hope they take this and don't do this.
Don't show anybody this.
Which leads to the Proclamation of 1763.
Hey.
After this slide, we eat.
Last slide we...
Yes, on George Washington.
Okay. King George III issues the Proclamation of 1763. This is going to close off all of that land that the colonists just fought for. He's saying that is Native American land. We're going to leave it to the Native Americans, partially in exchange for them helping us. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Coleman. Partially in exchange for we don't want a war with them. We know we'll win probably, but we don't really want to waste the money that it would take to fight them.
So that's a big thing. And also, you got to think about this. The whole purpose of the colonies, again, is for that money. If the colonists are farther away from the ocean, it takes them longer to get that money. So the British are kind of like, you know what? If we let them settle way out there in Ohio, it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of time to actually keep them in line and defend them and everything else. And the British are basically saying, it's just not worth it.
Also think that the colonists are fighting to get this land. They're fighting to get that fertile soil. They're also fighting to avoid their taxes. That's two promises that the British government is almost immediately going to break after the French and Indian War. So understandably, the colonists are not going to be happy about this development.
Next slide, next swing. George Washington, the man, the myth, and the legend.
A toast wings to being a legend.
I'm gonna try really hard not to touch my lips. Like, I don't know if you're still doing the whole wing.
I'm going full.
I'm gonna-
Yeah.
Go forward.
I'll take a big bite because, like I said, I didn't win on that last one. I'm sorry. Sorry, Mom and Dad. I'm sorry to embarrass you. it's just.
This is the one reminder that could possibly be made of human blood or rattlesnake blood.
It's not even spicy, it's just venomous.
Yeah. Weaker men have died off of this. I'll say that.
It does not say much for me.
Legends like myself, like George Washington, this is cake. I'll say that right now. I'm going in.
Why? Why? Oh, why? Just swallow.
There's so much sweat on my arms.
Oh.
Oh,
Wow. Oh.
Oh, God. Let's talk about George Washington.
Oh, cheers. Oh.
Water makes it worse. Water makes it worse.
Ah.
You got milk.
I gotta take a walk. I'll be back. Water makes it worse. George Washington, the legend. That one was pretty hot. George Washington. He's a legend. Legend has it, Washington is captured the same day that he fires the first shots of the French and Indian War. He's riding his horse. And they start shooting at him. The legends say he has 2 horses shot out from under him, but all the bullets miss him. He has literal bullet holes in his coat. But those French bullets, they don't scare George Washington, kind of like these wings don't scare me. He stays with his men. I don't need any milk. He stays with his men, and he fights with them right there. One of the big effects, one of the big effects of the French and Indian War is that Washington is going to become a legend.
whether any of this information on this slide is true. Excuse me. Whether any of this information is true, the colonists believe it. It's going to elevate George Washington, who at this point is in his 20s, to be an early American hero. It's going to help him later on when he becomes our first president and becomes a hero of the Revolutionary War in his own right. I hope you guys got a lot out of this video. Because it was not fun making it. Like we said earlier, whether we're dead or fired, whoever takes over our positions, I hope you enjoyed watching the video. I hope 8th graders for many years enjoy watching this video. Good luck on your test. Mr. Coleman, I leave it to you.
Guys, have a great day. Make good choices. You have a good people for you. Thank you.